Hello everyone, Pietro here, if you can recognize me. We are live from France today, and of course we are sticking to the rules here in regard to the regulations for the COVID-19 of course pandemic. So we are forced to wear the masks. Let me know if you don't understand, when I speak between my accent and and the situation with the mask. Just let me know in case. But we thought to do this live anyway, from Eastern France, from the home of one of the brands that has raised the most attention over the last few months, I have to say. One of the brands that has become the symbol of making bespoke in watchmaking accessible, and the brand is Sartory Billard. Of course, we are talking about brands, but actually Sartory Billard is very much one person, one gentleman with a very clear and very strong and very ambitious vision for the art of watchmaking, based here in France, and making some extraordinary timepieces for collectors all over the world now. So it started only a few years back and is now recognized as one of the most promising artisans in the field of watchmaking. So I'll introduce you. Our guest today is Armand Billard. It is right behind me, of course.
So welcome, thank you Pietro for the introduction. Welcome in the small Sartory Billard workshop. We are in the east region of France, close to the German border between Luxembourg and Strasbourg. So it's basically 3 hours from Swiss. And so that is a chance. I'm very happy to welcome you, Pietro, because you were on the road.
Yes, very much. So yes, on the road to see my family in Italy, and we thought to stop here in France to meet Armand for the first time. And to discover more about what Armand does, which is quite exceptional. We are giving you a glimpse of the very bench where Armand works every day. And I'll start trying to convey and passing some of the questions that I had from you so far. In terms of the strength, hi Jason, nice to see you as well. I'm going to say hi to everybody. Piero, nice to see you. Ciao Sandro. Cyrus watches, good to see you as well. Please feel free to pass your questions as we normally do when we are just strictly online. And I will start with my questions to Armand. One little surprise, we will try to connect with our editor Johnny as well from the Watch Press later on to add a little bit to this podcast. So without any further delay, I'm going to ask to Armand. Armand, your focus is to make bespoke accessible.
Yes.
So no compromises in the level of quality that you propose.
Try to, yeah.
No compromises in the processes that you can see here around us to produce top-notch bespoke items, but a big compromise on the price positioning. How did you manage that?
Okay. The bespoke experience for me is, we had the talk like 1 hour ago. It's like everybody's taste is different. And that was my very first concern when I got into this level and this new collection of the SB04 is that a brand's taste is not always the client's taste at the end. And I'm too much creative to do one model and to sell 100 time the same exactly watch. I would get bored very quickly doing this. And I had the chance to meet extraordinary collectors and people who are very important for me in the watch industry, like Armand Billard of French, just to name it, because he was like a key person in my journey. And everybody having a different taste, I organized all my work to make every watch being able to be unique and different. So it starts, of course, on the hands and the dial and the attention you would put to details like engraving, like the straps and etc. And to answer your question, what about the price, is that first I'm alone working in this huge 24 square meter workshop. My costs are reduced to just what I need. I mean, this is renting this space, this is buying the machines that I need, but it's not putting the price, another price for marketing or advertising or paying, like supporting some celebrity who would wear my watches and stuff like this. And
although there will be some celebrities already. These are the collectors.
Collectors, yes.
Yes.
But it's just the fair price with the fact also that the brand is unknown. And I also put myself in the shoes of normal people who like the watch. I'm really not coming from a wealthy family. I started to work early as a designer, and I exactly know the value of the money. And if you love watches and you have like this normal job, maybe you can afford one watch per year, which costs like 2,000, 3,000 or 4,000 euros, which is already a lot of money. And so I placed myself in this position saying, okay, I can work at the same time for people who enjoy, truly support independent watchmakers, but have the budget for one watch a year, which is already a huge budget for something. Yeah. Personally, I don't have this budget to buy one extra watch every year. And at the same time, I can work with collectors. Yeah. And at this level of price, I have two different kind of people are waiting something different from me. If you are a normal buyer of watches, you will go for a more classic watch, like my known blue titanium dials or something like this, more regular. But if you are a collector and you have more ability to buy more expensive watches, you have fun with me. Yeah. And it seems very humble to say, but very honest, having fun is really important.
It's the key of
It's the key of
absolutely.
the thing.
Absolutely.
And we had this talk like 1 hour ago. I had this collector. He is having this green dial watch with his name on the indexes and amazing colors and something really unusual. But when we made the design of the watch and with the Photoshop before I'm starting to cut and making, he had so much fun creating the watch with me that was really worth it. And this guy, this unique person, bought 4 watches of mine in one time. So that was obviously not a matter of money, but that was really a matter of having fun creating something together, like a joint work.
Absolutely. So I want to show you something now that I'm sure you'll appreciate, that I've just discovered visiting the workshop. These are the dials that Armand has managed from this plate of titanium. These are the only dials that Armand has been able to laser cut this year. Now, my first guess was, so these are the watches you have produced this year? And the answer was absolutely not, because to be able to work on titanium dials, the percentage of scrap is so high that only a fraction of these holes that you can see in this titanium foil are actually then used to actually equip a watch. So I'm going to ask Armand, why is that? Is he learning every day? Is he trying to keep, the quality? What's the issue? The quality has to be too high? Is he being too creative with colors? Or this is just a process you have to go through to be able to achieve what you want to achieve?
Oh, so there are like many layers. So, okay, you're showing a plate, half a plate that is maybe like 50 cuts or 60 cuts inside.
Yeah.
I suppose that I would have been able to make like 10 correct dials at the end in this sheet.
So you reckon 1 out of 6?
Something
is
like this.
Yeah,
something like this. One dial out of 6 would be okay. Titanium color is just amazing because what you see in a titanium dial is not a color, which is really interesting. But let me clarify this. If you have a painted dial, let's say blue or whatever color, you add a pigment on a metallic base. So you have a metallic plate, you put some color inside with a spray color or whatever you want, enamel, but basically you have a pigment of a certain color on your dial, and you see the pigment, so you see the color. With the titanium, you oxidize the surface, and it's like a rainbow in the sky. If you see a rainbow, nobody put some paint in the sky.
So that's the first layer, Armand, is the fact that
Yes.
here, so Armand is not coloring dials
No.
as such. He's working on chemical reactions
Yes.
for the dial to change its composition.
Yes, I'm working either on heat or chemical reaction, or actually my mix of these techniques. So I'm oxidizing, making an oxidation layer on the titanium, and so the color you perceive, would this be blue or purple or
We can, yes,
Yeah.
I can show this as well.
yeah, this one.
This is the,
If they don't follow,
here we go,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If you when or we can show the watches.
the watch themselves, yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, so this is a blue. Okay, I'll give you 10.
That's the other thing, guys, is that the production is so low, is one piece after the other one, totally bespoke,
It's one per week.
one per week,
Yeah, almost.
one watch a week, yeah, you're saying. So how often do you have 3 watches on your desk?
Never. Actually, I had to call my clients this week. So, okay, this purple one is supposed to go in Spain, and this Burgundy one is going to. It's not Norway. Sorry, Patrick, if you're listening. Okay. So this is one up north country. Oh, I'm bad. And I call my 2 clients and say, oh, there is somebody important for me coming on this Sunday. Can I delay for a few days the shipping? So I have all 3 colors, and luckily for me they accepted. So we have all 3 watches. So yes, let me finish with the color. So
Yes.
once you oxidize the layer of the titanium, it changes the light length wave, so you perceive a color like a rainbow in the sky. So here you can perceive a burgundy color, but there is no burgundy pigment on the dial. And this is what is crazy about titanium, and because you are doing this, you have such a depth in the perception of the color, so much contrast in the reflection. I think this is the most beautiful color you can have. I'm just totally fell in love with these colors. But the difficulty for me is to get all the processes through the cut. So it uses laser and a lathe to make the perfect round cut for dial, and then I have a lot of work of different rectification of the surface and polishing and after, of course, you have the oxidation layer on the titanium, and this is one dial out of 6, out of maybe more, sometimes less. That is good because there is so much scrap in all the processes, and this is what we talked about. This is it's only possible if you are a single man working on this, because if I would be employed by a company and I would tell my boss, okay, I'm going to work like half a day on the dial and maybe at the end this is not good, the boss would be legitimate to say, okay, we don't do this anymore.
Absolutely.
So this is why there is maybe only 2 watch brands doing this today.
There is a question from Smileycott asking if, first of all, nice to see you, Smileycott. Thanks for being our regular every single week in, week out. Pleasure to have you again. Armand, is it like a pearlescent color? But again, we can't call it a color.
No, it's not a color. It's I had one of my clients, which is a very famous scientist, who gave me the name. It said it is a color. I can't remember the name, but you use it sometimes in laser. The fact is that you want to separate the length of the wavelengths of the light, so you perceive a color. It's exactly the same thing that you have in a rainbow when you have all the 7th color. Yeah. In the titanium, you can fine tune this layer of oxidation that you can achieve maybe 12 to 15 different colors, like gold, different shade of golds, different shade of purple, this burgundy, different shade of blues, different shade of magenta, which is pinkish, and to pinkish to really pink, like extravagant pink. And you have a few greens, but they are lemon greens.
So what happens basically, Armand, if I understand well, the light gets refracted through a prism, basically. That could be water, could be the surface of any material. And then the only color that doesn't get filtered is the one that your eyes will perceive.
It's exactly like this.
So basically, we are living, the paradox is that if this dial appears purple, purple is actually the only color that is not there, in a way.
Or this is in a way, this is an optical aberration.
It's an optical illusion,
it's an optical illusion.
Absolutely.
It's not a pigment, it's not a color. There is nothing on the dial, absolutely nothing added to titanium.
Absolutely.
But it's treated and it oxidized in a way that you have this illusion of a color.
Same thing with the watch that Armand is wearing, which is obviously matching his shirt today. And again, it appears to be blue, but actually it's the optical illusion of our eye perceiving blue over there. But there's no treatment on the titanium with the color blue. It's just an optical illusion created by the treatment itself. I know, Smileycott, you are obviously familiar with brands like Dewitt, for example. Dewitt, they have by mistake also worked on the titanium pieces and discovered that titanium chemically reacting would change into the most extravagant color combinations.
It's like this. There have been some studies, like various studies on there are a couple of metals doing the same, titanium, barium, something. Another metal that is used in jewelry give the same kind of optical effect with oxidation, and they are known for decades or centuries by jewel maker. And I had to find some very old scientific extracts of people that were working on oxidation of titanium, so I can get the first direction to work with. And after that was just experimentation and my obsession for the color. For really an obsession for this blue color at the beginning. And I started because I saw some pieces with this oxidized blue titanium, and I was so mesmerized, so obsessed with this color that I got into, and I convinced myself I would make a watch with this. But at the same time, that was an insane decision, and at the same time, very wise decision, because now this is a good business. I mean, I have a full order for almost the year 2020, which is great.
And this answers the question I just had from Jason saying, if I'm bringing back one watch with me, and I'm trying to work on Armand, but I don't think that's going to work.
I have 3 and 4. The one
These 3, Jason, are pre-sold. All the 3, and they're absolutely bespoke to the taste of the client.
Jason, no, this one knows. Jason knows because he had it for 1 month. This is Jason Maxtor. This is Maxtor.
No, a different one.
This is another one. Okay. So because I know Jason somewhere, that this is a watch which is traveling to collectors or people in the watch industry, friends from different places of the world, so they can see the watch around. It's like it's the watch with a very complete passport with many stamps, but this one also.
So the other interesting thing, of course, talking with Armand, a little bit, differently from the usual. Armand is an outsider in the watch industry, somebody that is a designer by profession, and somebody that survives on the thrill of creating new things. So this model he has developed of creating one watch after the other, every watch having his own personality, his own story, and his own identity, is what drives Armand every day. So Armand, when you approached watchmaking and decided that horologically you were going to keep it simple, but there was something amazing to be done aesthetically, what drew you to the dial? What was your inspiration coming from to be working on the dial? What, some watch brands or other fields?
I think that was a long process because the SBO4 is obviously the fourth model of the brand, which we started like 4 years ago. So Sartory Billard, this is Ludovic Sartory and Armand Billard, but today, by matter of fact, I'm the only one working in the brand Armand Billard, and I own most of the shares of this very small company. We started the watch 5 years ago, with a watch that we had completely made by a French company, and I couldn't even put hands on the watch. I just made the design.
Yeah.
But I had the feeling that would be cool if the watch could have little detail change for the client's taste. So we had just like little details that would be red or green or blue or gray. And then the second model, the SB02, we had this bezel outside that we can change with different colors, and I understand more that people would love the color. But I'm a designer, and the shape was a little bit bizarre, to be honest. Like a tonneau shape with a big curve on the side. And many people found that the case was a little bit strange. And the SB03, I tried to make a more conservative case, which was still not really good because that was not a success. We just sold maybe 5 of them. But the dials, I put all the energy on the dials, but I had them made by somebody else. So the fact, my power, my ability, capability of personalization was limited to the possibility of this other maker to make something for me. That was like a small bandwidth to work with. And having all the reactions of people at Encelade, I made the SBO4 with the decision that I would keep the case as simple as possible, because I will put all the energy in the dial. And that was exactly at the same time that I had this revelation with titanium, and everything, that was a click in my head. Everything went from one step to the other, and within 2 years, something like this, or a little bit less actually, 1 year something, because I remember for me, the one who knew me, I was in Baselworld last year, so 19 with the SBO3, and when I was just coming back from Baselworld, I drew the SBO4, which I presented exactly 1 year ago. This is at this summer, and you see how much and how quick I progress, and it's a little bit flattering. No, I don't know how to say this, but I'm a fast learner. I'm completely self-taught. But last year I get one help from one friend, which is Philippe Narbel. He works in Switzerland, in la Vallée de Joux, and he makes finishes and terminaisons on movements and detail like this for amazing brands, very high level, detailing all the anglage and etc. And I called Philippe like exactly, this is exactly the same week 1 year before. And I called him and I said, okay, Philippe, would you mind having a 44 years old intern for 1 week? Because I'm really struggling with this and these details on the finishing of the hands and indexes. I'm learning myself, but would you mind learning me some tricks? And he said, okay, this is the perfect good week, because now the watchmaking industry holiday is coming, but I have already one guy who went in holiday, so I have one bench free. So pack your gear, get in your car, and come.
Come here.
And I was in the workshop of Philippe Narbel for 4 days or something like this, and I was working on my pieces, but when I was making a gesture or working on something, it is, oh, do this more like this, and do this more like this. Look at this detail. Oh, this is not nice looking. Okay, just work hard. And so that was all the inputs I had. And that gave me this extra push, and I'm a very fast learner. So if I have this chance, I don't know, it's in my stuff. If I see somebody doing one movement of something once, I can repeat this very quickly. So this is how I learn, and I also have a very good chance is with the buyers that I had, collectors that bought my pieces. I had the chance to have very exigent, is it a word?
Yeah, demanding.
Demanding clients, and one, Michael from Australia, which is a clients and collectors of Andersen, so amazing watches.
Right,
So he asked, and he bought a piece from me, and I sent him the watch. And so I waited 2 or 3 weeks to say, okay, now Michael, you're going to be very straightforward with me, and you're going to critique my work. And I don't want you to be soft. I want you to be really straight to point of view. And because you have this Andersen and amazing watches in your collection, now you're going to be very strict with my work, and you're going to tell me what I can improve. That was 4 months ago.
Yeah.
That was before the COVID, so
Yeah.
I can't exactly remember. And he wrote me this very long email saying, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good. This is not good, this is not good, this is not good, this needs to improve, this needs to improve. That was like a list of smallest detail that he could only see if he had like a 10 times loop. But of course he had the 10 times loop
Yeah.
to go with the watch.
Yeah.
And all these tiny details, I have goosebumps thinking about this, but this long message that Michael wrote me was really important, and once again give me a kick in the ass, and I say, okay, Armand, you're not good enough on this and this and this.
And this
So
was a way
learn
to-
different, buy another machine.
Yeah.
That was not only but mostly mechanical the finishes, that the parts that were not smooth enough for the indexes. So that was the way I was doing the polishing. So I invested in other machine that I knew that would this. And everything is so interesting because it's always a process of learning and doing better. And I'm very honest with you and with the people saying this. I guess nobody in the industry would reveal that they did some work that could have been better, and now they're doing better than 6 months ago. But
Yeah.
I am, because why not, actually? You can't lie when you are in a small workshop like this. And so now every part, every watch I make is improving in quality, improving on personalization, improving on bespoke. And this in a big bag makes everything all together that can make bespoke watch, fun watch, for 2,000 or 3,000 euro price point. It's like a complete mix.
Yeah, no, it's a great story. And I have a question in regards to that. But before, Smileykot is asking, do you have plans, and I was going to ask you, to work on the horological side and eventually consider a chronograph or a tourbillon for the future?
Oh.
What is your take on the horological side?
Okay, on the horological side, as I told you, I'm self-learning. I showed Pietro, just before the interview, a movement, which is the one I use, that was my job.
Maybe I can...
That was my job. Friday afternoon, I was in between 2 watches creating, and that was movement that I just disassemble and reassemble to learn the movement again. So I have never been to any watchmaking school. So working on a movement, I'm learning myself one day and one step after the other. So the movement is that now I can start to be very familiar with the movement and do what I want with the movement. But making a tourbillon or using a tourbillon something would mean that I would have to buy this very expensive movement, and probably I would make mistake, and I don't know. And it seems now that I have such a great play field with only 3 hands watches. For now, I'm working on this. We can talk in a few years because everything is moving very fast. So chronograph, just to be honest, I would prefer a tourbillon to a chronograph, because a chronograph takes so much space in the dial with all the sub counters and something like this.
Yeah, that's very busy.
Yeah, it's very busy. So there are not so many chronographs that you have a lot of expression for the beauty of the dial. I would rather go for a moon phase. I would rather go for a small second. Yeah, this is really interesting. It's not very complication, but it's something different in the dial.
More sober than...
And a tourbillon, because But some tourbillons I find really nice, and some tourbillons I find very ugly. So because when you have too much colors in the tourbillon cage or something like this, I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I like more the monochromatic aspect of it when the tourbillon is done.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe why not? Yeah.
And so far you have made only a few watches more than once. The Horophile edition is one of them. For the future, because Armand is a designer, again, of course, and he thrives on being as creative as he can. So he loves the feedback from customers. He loves us coming to him and say, can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? Because, of course, you thrive on being inspired. But my question is, how many solutions can you find? Because already, colors, materials, there are limited amount of options. How do you see this aspect?
I'm very creative. I've been you said I'm a designer. I've been working in the design industry for 25 years almost, or something like this. And because I had my own agency, so I was always working with different clients, and I always get involved with these different techniques or something. So crossing technique, getting one technique from one world and bringing to another world is my daily, it runs in my blood. So when a clients come and ask me something very different or unusual, I'm always trying and working my very best to find a solution. I had a client a few weeks ago saying, I really would like to have a Vanta Black dial.
Vanta Black,
Mother made it. I said, okay, but obviously I will not use Vanta Black because Mother did, so there is... But once you research on how you have different, almost 99.9 absorbent dial, you see Vanta Black is a brand with a certain technique, but you have also competitors.
Yeah.
And so the application is a little bit tricky. You have to work on different manner. But I'm saying yes, I'm 100%. I'm all in to make all the research and development necessary to make a Vanta Black, a full matte black die. And it's the same if a client asks me, can you make like a stone dial, like malachite, like lapis lazuli, like meteorite, like whatever. Even if I don't know how to make it, I prefer to say, okay, let me get back to you in a couple or 3 weeks. I get my information and I'm saying if I can make it for you or not. And so far I could meet the expectations of my client, but one. And I'm giving the subject to everybody has an idea because I don't have the industrial solution. I have a client who wants a titanium dial that reproduces the Milky Way.
Oh yeah.
So he wants the titanium dial to be black in all the sides, and at the center it gets all the shades of purple and blue and stuff like this, with all the little dots of the stars, like the Milky Way.
Like a bit like Aventurine, but giving the actual shape of a Milky Way.
Yeah. Sometimes you can see it in the sky. So and it's really complicated. And of course, I don't want to make it like a micro painting, because you have some brands that have been. Bovet has done some micro painting of the night stars and sky on some dials. But the deal with the client is to use the titanium. Constraint or the titanium, and this so far it's something that has been asked to me like 3 months ago at least, and even if I made some tries, which I don't have here, probably have at home, it's not. Yeah, I will find.
We are trying on our side to work on a limited edition that we would like to create with Armand. Yeah. But of course, it's not like you propose to Armand something and he's gonna do it, just because it's an order or just because Armand has to like it. He has to put his own stamp on your proposal, and then it's actually a collaboration between the two, coming to the perfect. So you like the input, but the final say is always yours.
Yes, because that would be the global design of the watch, but that would be more the feasibility of the watch, and everything goes together. But I will never judge the taste. Yeah. Because as I said, a client wanted a green dial with golden hands and golden index. he likes this, he finds this color association cool, and I'm no one to come and judge and say, oh, my taste is better than you, and you should do this color because this is no. So it's always like, can I make it? Will it work? Can I assemble the watch? Can I make it with my technical constraint of the size of the case and everything, etc.? It will never be on the taste. If of course someone asks me to do some very injurious message on a watch dial, something like this, I will refuse this, but that would be my extreme veto.
Absolutely. So at the moment, to resume with Armand, if you, of course, the limited edition is official partner of Sartory Billard, but still we're talking about Bespoke. So there isn't a watch that on our platform you can just press a button and get from Sartory Billard. But there is this amazing opportunity for in and around, 4,000 euros to be able to create your own bespoke piece, giving some inputs to Armand to work on, which is pretty amazing. I want to say hi to Adrian as well. Adrian is actually from Convo Piece, is our partner in crime in the creation of the limited edition for Sartory Billard. So Adrian actually designed those.
Cool. Thank you, Adrian. That was great work. And love the sun brush. Love the representation. Love it. And
Adrian is saying it's all about the individual and a creative steer along the way. So it's all about finding the connection with the individual that is behind the watch and the order, and finding the right inspiration for you to create something.
I have many connection with WhatsApp or Instagram, and some people got very friendly and we got into a project. And like in a normal life, sometimes you meet someone and you don't have this special bond.
Yeah.
And I had people that were talking to me, and maybe I did not give them the good what they expected, and so they didn't get further in ordering a watch. But with the clients that are ordering a watch, it's now we're getting news sometimes. How are you? What are you doing? Or they're just showing me the new watch they bought, another brand, and it's really I just love people actually. So
another aspect is that Armand comes across as, the king of Bespoke. Bespoke is, we agree in this, the reason why we love amazing timepieces is because they are unique, or they have to be unique. So if you have the opportunity to create Bespoke, it's the best thing ever. But this doesn't mean that Armand is giving up on technology. Actually, in here, in his atelier, and I'm going to show you around a little bit, there are some technologies that Armand uses to, of course, being a one-man working on every single piece, he needs somehow to find efficiency. So we can show a little bit.
I can give you a little tour. So the atelier is only 24 square meters. This is very small, but you have new machines like laser. A laser allows me to cut all the dies and the hands, the very first cuts in titanium, like Pietro showed you. Laser is like a modern jewelry saw, so it's just a tool. You need this computer to make it.
And this is the machine. We're gonna go closer.
Yeah.
And these are the different sizes you would cut.
Yeah, this is the supports and the fact how it's held on the laser table. It's just like it's a cutting machine. This is one very small part of the polishing station, but I have one home because I need water from some bigger machines for the polishing, and I don't have water in this little workshop. This is where I assemble all the parts with very old but very precise tool like potence. I don't know the name in English. It's just to set up the hands. Set the tubes on the hands to set the hands on the movement. All like basic little tools. Like you have this free contamination, no contamination came in like a flow, so it helps to build the parts in a clean environment. You have one part of the bluing or purplish secret is part here. It's like this very old but it's working actually. Techniques like heating or kiln to get the colors and everything. And here you have a bunch of old tools, like 8mm Loch lathe that I'm using daily to make the tubes for the hands. Because when you're talking bespoke, every watch is different. It is made differently. So every dial would be thicker or higher or whatever. So every hand would be adjusted for every dial. And this I couldn't order like 100 times the hands or the tubes and expecting it would fit on every dial. This is not.
Yeah, we can show the little hands as well. I think.
Yes,
I've seen a few. Yeah, here.
Here. Okay, this is one made of titanium. This is raw cuts, so they are not polished. And here they are out of the first polishing process. So the hands they are.
I hope you can see that. Please let me know
place.
if anything is not clear.
And here to finish one part of the tool visitors, you have a Chopin 70 lathe, a very helpful machine that I use to cut, because the laser cuts in the titanium in a good way, but of course this is laser cannot have the precision. That's paradoxal because we're talking laser, which
So
is really
here
precise.
we have the future on one side or the present,
but you need the old machine to
but
correct.
you need the past to correct. Yeah.
Yeah, you always. I need to work on a 60 years old machine to make a better cut than on laser.
To perfection laser. Yeah,
It's
that's really
like this.
really good.
It's
That's really good.
It's
That's
bizarre,
really
but
good. Yeah.
it's like this. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing very fancy here. Something to put the crystals on the watch. Microscope, of course, always like to control the pieces. And here, like a stamping machine, because I have projects with stamping on the dials, the numbers, or special decoration on the watch.
And guys, if you want a museum piece for the future,
Sandblasting machine, bureaufixe. I don't know how you say this in English.
I just wanted to show the wrong dial here.
Okay, this is a wrong dial. Maybe we can go to the light.
Yeah, there's a wrong dial. I was suggesting Armand maybe to create a unique piece with a wrong dial. I'm sure this one day will be in a museum.
Okay, so this was badly cut by the laser. Okay, I'm trying to find. Okay, so it's titanium indexes that I made blue. And you see that the laser was a bit harsh on the 6 and was cut, and the 3 also, where is the 3? Here was cut. So I decided, even if the laser destroyed the part, which is a pain because it's really costly, this titanium sheet, I decided to polish it and to put it to the color so I can finalize some process on this. And I remember I have something on that. Okay, also, this one is really interesting. Okay, you may have seen on my Instagram last week the Chinese dial, which is a system. Okay, this one is destroyed. You can clearly see the destruction of the index, but I pushed it to purple in titanium. Really nice. And this is really interesting. This is a Chinese dial with an. Okay, this is supposed to be 12 here. And you have sectors that are 2 hours. So you have from 11 in the evening to 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4, 6 in the morning, 8, 10 in the morning, and then you go to the under section. So 12, 11 to 1, 1 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, 6, 7, and 8. So you're making all the day in sectors of 2 hours, and every sector of 1 hour is divided in 4 sections of 15 minutes each, which is an ancient Chinese way of reading time, used also in Japan. So this index has been totally destroyed, but also I pushed it to the purple so I could check some.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that one as well.
This one is almost good, but not good. The color is not uniform, but the cut is good.
And the 2 as well is repeated twice.
No, the 10 broke. The one broke from the 12.
Yeah, the one.
The one
correct.
broke from the 12.
Correct,
So this is okay. These are 3 dead indexes.
So these are potentially 3 unique pieces that maybe we can convince Armand.
Oh God!
to
If
create.
you want something, just the price of this titanium and okay, there is maybe around. Okay, there is 3 hours of cuts. Of course, I'm not working when it's cutting, but if I'm just counting the hours, so I have 3 hours of cuts. I have 2 hours of different polishings, and I have 2 hours to bring it to the blue. So 3. There is 7 hours of work on this one, 7 hours of work on this one, and maybe 5 hours of work on this one. So it's like 3 days of work, basically.
For 3 dials.
And lost.
But and they're lost,
Because, okay, but you learn this way, so...
Absolutely.
But they're not lost for me in the process. I think I give you like a sneak peek of maybe a bit unique or not seen before. It's interesting.
No, very interesting. And I just put my mask back because I incidentally removed it. I hope you can see us again. Guys, I couldn't really check on your questions. So if you want... Yes, Smiley Coat is pointing out 19 hours wasted or maybe rather experimented. So it's
it's both of this. It's both of this. Yeah. But the laser cut, I mean, the colors, I was okay with making the colors and the polishing. That was not an issue. But the fact that the laser destroyed the parts because the setup of the laser to cut metal is always different between titanium, stainless steel, chromium steel, and as soon as you change the thickness of the material, would this be 0.1, 0.15, 0.2 to 3 or 0.5?
Yeah.
All the setups pretty much change, and you have also you need to design the index in a different way so the cut go through in the most optimized way. It's a combination of different things, and of course when you're making a new design with a different material and you have 1 chance that it goes good and 9 chance that something goes wrong.
Absolutely. So in this journey, Armand, you know that we are big ambassadors for independent watch brands, and we support this amazing association of the AHCI, the Académie des Horlogers Créateurs Indépendants, which is formed by watchmakers coming from all different countries. And you are becoming one of them because it's, of course, you put the accent on the finishing, on the aesthetics, on the materials, and step by step more and more into the horological side. Do you think that as a watch lover yourself, this influx of influences from foreign watchmakers is very important for the survival of the industry and for how the industry is developing?
Yes, yes, absolutely. All the knowledge, all the influence within Switzerland is amazing, but I love when you have creators from outside of Switzerland. For example, one of my favorite brand of favorite watchmaker is Hajime Osaoka.
Osaoka, yeah.
The watches that he's
you have good taste.
They are just insane. You know, if I'm going to talk about I've been to art school, and what you have when you're an artisan and you're making something, it's called le tremblé fait main. It's like shaking, I would translate like shaking made by hand. I'm going to give you a very basic example. If you buy an IKEA piece of furniture, you have 1 million times the same furniture with the same dimension, etc. And if you're going to ask to a woodmaker to make the same piece of furniture, the furniture would at the same time have much more life because it's not perfect done like with a machine. So it's this human touch in making of the things. But to my point, Hajime Osaoka is so fantastic in the finishing that is pushing the fact that it's handmade to a point to an extreme perfection that I have not really seen in other pieces. There's something absolutely mesmerizing in the sharpness of the finishing, and everything is done by hand. He's making the cases by hands and the dials and everything by hands, but the finishing is better than perfect than done with a machine. And sometimes machines are doing things better than human, but his hand is so sharp and so precise. So for me, like something he's doing is for me an absolutely reference.
The flip side is though that you need at least 5 years waiting list to get one watch.
Okay.
I
would if I could.
No, absolutely. And his clever then idea was to launch a brand like Couronne that gave the possibility for people to own a fragment of the dream.
Yeah, it's a fragment of the dream. But it when you see the two watches even on the picture, even if the Couronne Tokyo the finishes are really, really good, you don't have this. You have to see a Hajime Osaka watch from in the metal in your life. It's just like.
Yeah. Oh. I had the pleasure to visit Hajime in Tokyo, and the workshop is not too dissimilar to yours. So the approach is definitely the approach of an artisan that you are implementing. I hope that you are not going to become that kind of watchmaker where we have to wait 5, 6, 7 years to be able to get it.
I don't think so. But no, this is a goal for me. And you have like wonderful watchmakers. You have watchmakers from Spain, from Israel, from the North countries, from
Finland,
America,
Russia.
It's like great guys from. So you need all the blood from everything and give some new inputs to the Swiss industry.
Because there is sometimes, and this is the last question, guys, unless you have something you want to put forward to Armand. My question was, yes, Bespoke is fantastic because besides owning in the end one object, there is a journey behind that starts with an idea, implementation, exchange, creation of a relationship, and something that when you wear your watch, you can talk about, you can really share. But these can become inaccessible, like in the case of Asaoka, or like readily accessible in big quantities, like in the case of Couronne. So I guess you are a bit in the middle now, because if you want a bespoke piece, yes, you have to wait 3-4 months, which is acceptable if you like. You're very careful not to upset clients, but you have big ears to hear from clients, because you nurture yourself with that.
Yes. If a client give me some inputs or make a constructive criticism about my work, I'm just willing to learn every day. Yeah. And the more I can learn, the more I can receive some input. If somebody is writing me an email saying, "Oh, your watch, they are just like awful. The design is shit," I say, "Okay, why? Okay, just give me your point of view. I have no problem with this." And the journey for me is really important. I'm the total opposite of Amazon, so there is no a click and 1 day later it's in your home. But what I do is that when I'm making the watches during the week that usually it takes for me to make the watch, I'm sending pictures every 2 hours or two times a day. Yeah. Okay, today I'm doing the hands. Okay, this is the first cut. Oh, today I'm doing this. Or today I'm making the dial. I'm making the first assembly test. Blah, 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 blah. Today I'm making the engraving of the case. And I guess the client has like maybe 10, 15 or 20 pictures at the end or messages coming from me. And it's like a birth of the watch. And sometimes clients, they ask me last minute changes. Yeah. I would like more an engraving like this and not like this, and say, okay, this is part of the song.
So in the end, it is really not the product, but it's actually the journey and the experience.
Yes, because at the end, this is only a watch that gives time. I mean, this is just 2 hours, 1 hour, minute, and I don't know. It's always the same thing. If you want something precise, buy a quartz watch or a smartwatch. It's but if you like my work, if you like me, if you want to have fun making a watch, I think that I can bring on clients to a nice journey in the watch making.
And there is a question from Doug asking, as a designer yourself, can you recommend so I read the question exactly. Which sources does Armand recommend for inspiration for design? Where do you take your sources and what you would recommend?
Okay, I would make a mix between Art Deco, Art Nouveau, and Bauhaus, because for me these three design currents at the beginning of the 20th century. So you had the German Bauhaus, very constructive, like the machine is going to help us building better objects than
creating symmetries.
Yeah, symmetry. It's very
lines.
interesting to understand the transition between handmade and machine-made. You have the Art Nouveau, which is and the Art Deco, which are totally different approach in the style. In you have these American buildings, really straight, but with a lot of energy and a lot of style, and this is amazing colors and design and graphic. The graphic are really strong, and at the same time you have the Metro from Paris with all the
Yes.
curves and
The
much more
Nouveau,
floral
yeah.
and stuff like this. So I think that getting inspiration with these three big movements are for me interesting, and you find a little bit parts of this in my work, because I can be really strict on some points. I can have this typography a little bit more defined, and sometimes I can have the round case which more pure formic. So
Yeah.
I'm not just doing Nomos is really good for the Bauhaus, but it's Bauhaus from the buckle to the strap to the dial to everything is so I'm much more complex than only one style, just mixing.
And okay, we have, I think, a couple of minutes. We couldn't have Johnny, unfortunately, on our broadcast today from Ireland. We were hoping to create a connection, but we will see Johnny shortly during the week to comment on this very good interview. I want to thank Armand
My pleasure.
for being
Absolutely.
with us. I have one last question for you, which is, like, it's funny how our development has gone on parallel lines, because we
So
started
true.
in 2015 with the limited edition, when you made a big decision to completely change direction. What would you recommend to young people, or even not, necessarily the youngest like ourselves? We are in our 40s, both of us. It's never too late when you believe in something, you have a vision, to put everything out there and try. What would you recommend? What was the thing that really made you think, I'm going to go for it?
Have fun in your work.
Have fun in your work.
I mean, I'm doing this today. I changed my life. I sold my company. That was a very small design agency, like 5 person, but I get rid of it just to go into the watchmaking industry, because my job was not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And when you spend 8 hours a day doing something, that seems a little bit stupid, or hundreds of people have been saying this, but I have so much pleasure when I open the door in the morning. I was so happy to come here on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Deeply happy to come here on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And if you ask, would you go to your work on a Sunday? Some people would say, no way. I was just like, yes, today I'm seeing Pietro, I will be in the workshop today.
Yeah.
And you can't beat this.
And that, absolutely, I totally agree with that. Of course, myself, I'm going technically to see my family down in Italy, and I couldn't help stopping by and see Armand and share this fantastic story, because there are a lot of stereotypes on how watches should be, how the industry should be, and yet it is one of the few industries that can offer examples like this of creativity, of entrepreneurial spirit, and of very, very big success as well, because I know a lot of collectors that are like
It's a small. I mean, we will talk about success in 5 years. I made the first steps.
Yes.
And now I'm really happy on the steps that I'm on now, and I have like many steps to go. It's like I'm still believe that I have to prove everything that I can do. We talked a little bit earlier about sports, and we said, okay, watchmaking, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint or a speed race. This is a long distance race.
Thank you, everyone. We have 30 seconds. Thanks to Armand.
Thank you, Pietro. That was absolutely pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. This is just the first step. Sartory Billard is officially linked to the limited edition, and we will show you something great very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for being with us from Eastern France.
Bye-bye.